I want you to ask yourself, what are you running away from? Why is it that you keep distracting yourself with social media? Why is it you keep eating junk food? Why is it you keep procrastinating? What is that reason why you're not taking steps and actions towards becoming that person you want to be? Because recently, as I've been going through my self-improvement journey and like I'm traveling the world, I'm realizing that a lot of my distractions and a lot of the bad habits I instill are just me trying to get away from my own thoughts. It's me getting out of my own headspace and distracting myself so I don't have to deal with it. And I think you need to sit down and ask yourself, like, what is it that you're running away from? What is this thing that you're fearful of? What is it that you're scared of that you don't want to deal with? Because if you had the courage to face that, like, head forwards, if you could define it and look at it and tackle it, then that wouldn't be a problem anymore and you can move on with your life. But most of our decisions and most of the bad habits we fulfill are actually fueled by the need to run away from our own mental state, our own state of mind kind of motivates us to do things that distract us so we don't have to deal with the reality that we've got an unpleasant mind, so that there's things going on in our brain that we don't agree with and that we're avoiding. And this really comes back to like the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And I've spoke about this so many times, but like you really need to go down deep and dig and journal and understand what is it that makes you scared, what is it that makes you fearful. And once you can define that and you can tackle it head on, once you go into the cave and like slay the dragon, then you can come out on the opposite side and you can be free of that suffering. That won't hold the mental space that it does anymore. It won't hold you back. But to realize this, you need to be aware. So like awareness has its benefits and negatives. And like the more aware you become through meditation, through the reduction of social media, through eating a cleaner diet, all these things that make you more present and mindful, it's going to make you more present and mindful of what is going on in your mind. And it can cause a world of suffering. And it's one thing that I've developed from being on self-improvement is I've become a lot more introspective and a lot more mindful of what is happening in my life and what is happening in my state of mind. But it's also forced me to understand how negative I am and understand that like I'm actually fueled by these dark desires, or I'm actually fueled by these insecurities. And it leads you into this place where it can cause a lot of suffering because you're a lot more aware of how you act and behave. And you see the inconsistencies between who you want to be and who you are being. But it's such a better alternative than just being like blissfully ignorant to it. Like when I was 18, 19, 20, I was so unaware of the choices I was making and the person I was being that I didn't realize that it was all coming from an anxious, egotistical, like fueled point of view. Like every action I was taking, I was going out drinking, I was going out like promoting my drug use, doing these things, like eating like this. It was all coming from a place of insecurity and anxiety. And if I didn't develop the awareness to understand that, I would have lost so many years of my life doing this and eventually got to this point where I am now. But like 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and realize I've wasted my whole life. So, this rush to be aware, that there's no rush, but it is vital. And it's so important that you take the action now to become aware of your own thoughts and become aware of what drives you and what motivates you. And it is really kind of eye-opening. And as I said, it can cause a lot of suffering because I now realize that how motivated I am by ego, how I want to impress others so bad that it fuels all my action, or that I'm so scared to be vulnerable and open myself up to women or to other people that this prevents me from going and being social. And I'm so aware of this now. Instead of just thinking I'm shy or thinking that I'm anxious, I'm aware of where these are coming from. And once you're aware, you have that opportunity to go and tackle it. So now for me, they're the biggest problems in my life, is being vulnerable and being willing to let my guard down and people see the real me. And also defeating this self-doubt and realizing that like I can actually go out and achieve things, and my output will result in me somewhere down the line achieving my goals. And I've just got to stay consistent and take action and have an inherent belief that I can achieve. But I've reinforced my life this habitual nature of like, you can't do things, you can't do things. And these thoughts prevented me from taking risks, prevented me from taking action. But I was never aware of that was a belief in my mind. But once you're aware of this belief, like now I'm aware of it, I can start dispelling it. I can start disproving it. I can start putting myself in situations that make me uncomfortable, make me anxious. I can go and take action and see improvements and realize that like this belief and these beliefs that are holding me back are just based off faulty perceptions. They're based off perceptions I had when I was a child that I thought was the truth and turn out not to be true, and they're not serving me. So you need to do this as well. Like, you need to focus on becoming aware. Once you've got that awareness, challenge your beliefs. Where do your beliefs come from? What are motivating you to take this in action? Because inaction is an action in itself. It's impossible to not take action, because if you sit in inaction, you're taking action. If you choose to not go out and socialize, you're choosing not to go out and socialize. That is an action. If you choose to eat that cookie, or if you choose to not go to the gym and just sit there, you've chose. Every time you choose inaction, you have still chose. You've chose something. So life is choices. So what is motivating these choices? What is giving you the inspiration and the motivation to not take that action? What's giving you the motivation to take that action? And become aware of the mechanics of your own mind. So build this awareness up. And then once you've built the awareness, once you start to understand these thoughts that are coming into your mind and are rather serving you or not serving you, examine them and question them. A lot of positive things I've used in the past, like tools, self-development tools, have been for the pure expression and the pure exploration of my own beliefs. So like I started researching cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT. And the pure basis of this is like you literally examine mindfully, like with mindfulness, you examine your own thoughts and your beliefs. So what we tend to think of what like causes a belief in our brain is we have a experience when we're younger, and we see that experience and we perceive that experience and we interpret it in a certain way. And that is a belief. So say something embarrassing happens, say you get up on stage and you stutter all your words, or you go out and fall off on your bike and all your friends see, and your undeveloped, unintellectual brain when you're younger will perceive it as, I'm embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. I can't do these things. So then that is a belief that gets rooted in your mind. And through your life, that belief is going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to get watered and watered, because your brain's seeing reality through this lens of you're an embarrassment. It sees reality through its preconceived judgments, through its interpretations. So it's never going to see you achieving well. It's only going to see you in a line with what it thinks it is. And this is your ego trying to reinforce that, like, you're this person that's anxious, or you're this person that's an embarrassment. But once you develop that awareness and once you start challenging these beliefs, you can really start seeing that how faulty they are and how they don't actually line up with evidence, how they don't even align for you living a purposeful and fulfilled life. It's like your mind is against you. Like your own mind is against you. It doesn't want you to win. So you really need to develop the technique and the understanding of challenging your own beliefs. And this is a basic Buddhist principle, and the Buddha was teaching this for thousands of years. It's like, we're not seeing reality for what it is. We are seeing it over this cloud of judgment, these preconceived judgments, which is tied to our own experiences when we were younger. And it's mad how our childhood and our past experiences can formulate this clouded view of reality and make us less happy. But you need to become aware to realize this. So awareness and then challenge. So once you become aware and you start to develop an understanding of your own mind, you're starting to face your own, you're starting to realize that like, my mind isn't against me. I want you to go deeper and dive into what is the root of your beliefs. Why do you think this? Like, journal and question why. Everything that happens, every negative thought you have, why did you have that negative thought? Why did you act like this in a scenario? Why did you get social anxiety here? Question why. Be inquisitive, be curious about your own mind. And once you do this, you're going to start to realize that it's all based on faulty preconceived judgments. So then what do you do next? Once you've understood that your mind is against you and you've seen these little tricks your ego's up to like keep its solidified sense of self, then you need to go out into the world and disprove it. And this is where the hardest bit to do is like the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. You've identified the cave, you've understood why the fear's there. Now you need courage. You need to go and act. You need to go into that cave. You need to dig in and understand and face what makes you anxious. So if you've got this belief like, no one will love me, and this is formulating in social anxiety around women, you need to go out there and speak to women and face this belief and face this fear up front. Because when you do this, you start to disprove it. You get reactions from other people, you get external results that actually disprove this faulty belief. And our mind works best through experience. It reacts to other people's reactions to us. It reacts to the external environment coming towards us. And when we see all these positive things happening around us because we're taking action, we can slowly start really deep rooting this belief and replanting it and planting it with a new one. We can take the seed of doubt out and plant it with a seed of optimism. But you need them 3 steps. You need the awareness, you need the challenge, and you need to take action. So taking action is going to be your biggest asset. You could actually take action without the rest and still get to where you want to go. But I think these 2 steps of awareness and challenging your beliefs are going to really get you clear and allow you a clarity of state of mind that you know exactly what you need to do. And you're not going to be like beating up against the wrong wall or knocking on the wrong door. You're going to challenge what you need to challenge. And when you go out and challenge, you don't have to expose yourself to the most uncomfortable situation. You don't need to face a dragon straight away. You need to take one step by one step by one step by one step. Expose yourself to something that makes you slightly uncomfortable. And then once you've done that, do it again, something that makes you more uncomfortable. And see how you're getting results. See how the external maps to you. And if it doesn't go well, that's fine, you go again. But when it goes well, what did I do well? How did I behave like this? How did I act in a way that got good results? And then you've got more evidence. And you're building up an undeniable stack of proof that you are someone who is different to these self-limiting beliefs. I think for me, the next big step now is disproving all this self-doubt. And I've done enough examining and I've done enough awareness. I know what I need to do. And for me, it's about taking action now. And it's not going to be easy. And I think I've put this off for a long time due to like the fear of it, like me facing my own insecurities. Like let's talk, for example, me speaking to women. So like I've got this insecurity that I'm not good at speaking to women, like women won't love me, whatever it may be. And I think this has come from my childhood of me having this preconceived perception that like my family don't love me. My dad used to work away a lot, and like the more journaling I do, the more I realize that like this has really affected me because I never got the love and affection I thought I deserved from him because he was out supporting his family. He was doing what he had to do. But from my point of view as a young child, I took this as a belief that like I'm not loved. So I'm constantly seeking validation from others because I'm not secure in my own sense of self. So this has formulated in me having a lot of social anxiety because I want to be validated from others. I want to impress people because for me, this like inner child in me just wants to be validated. So I've got so much anxiety about social situations and I've got all this pent up worry that like if I don't act in a certain way or if I don't behave in a certain way, people won't love me. Or women won't love who I am because I'm unlovable. And that is literally a belief that's deep rooted in my subconscious. But I'm aware of that and I realise that isn't me. That's just some faulty ego that's there. So for me now, I need to go out there and speak to women. I need to go out there and socialize more and open myself up and realize that, like, I am lovable. I'm someone who should be proud of myself and I'm confident, but I have to go out and prove that to myself. And I need to go and take that action that's going to develop them characteristics and not just reinforce this ego of, like, you can't do things, because where is that going to get me? It's going to get me just still. It's going to get me here. So that's my plan of action, is to go out there and be vulnerable and be insecure and realize that it's okay and I'm going to find my way through it. But like, go on this journey yourself and understand what is your own insecurity, what is that anxiety, where is it coming from, and what can I do now to tackle it. Thank you very much for listening, people. That's the 20th episode. Any recommendations people have, let me know, give me a message, and thank you very much for listening. We're 20 episodes in. How fucking crazy is that, man? So I read a stat from Chris Williamson, which was like, you're in the top 0.01% of podcasters ever if you've published 20 episodes. So I am literally in the top fucking whatever percent it is just for posting 20 episodes. So that's how easy it is to get to the top these days. And if you just stay consistent and keep improving, you will become the person you want to be. So thank you very much for listening, people, and I'll see you on the next episode.